Hello there. Today I'm going to talk about Night of Cups, which is a new Terrence Malick film, which is just out in America. It's not released in the UK yet in the cinema, but you can get a release. You can get a Blu-ray from Germany at the moment already. I mean, it's already out in Germany in Blu-ray, which is how I saw it. So I'm reviewing the Blu-ray of the film. I haven't actually seen it in the cinema because when it comes out here, it'll be a very limited release. And I'll probably won't have a chance to see it. I'm a massive Malick fan, so I bought the Blu-ray from Germany. It's a terrific film. It's really amazing, and I know that sounds like someone reviewing the latest blockbuster. It's really amazing, but it really is. It's an astonishing film. Just like his last film, To the Wonder, was also astonishing that and was hated. It was Malick's now in that part of his career where he was thought he was a genius. Now they have to kind of bash him a little bit because he's made too many films. He's only made a few films that he always thought was a genius, but now he's made too many. So now he's thought of as maybe he's not as great as he was, even though he is. He's sort of like, I mean, it happens to every great director, like Dreyer, Bresson. They all had the same thing. Bresson in the 60s and 70s get bashed like crazy while he was making some of his best films. Like they weren't as revered as some of the ones that people view of as great films, but he's still making great films even then. And so Malick's getting that at the moment. He's getting like, we don't understand this. Why is he making these films? Why are they not commercial? Why is he not doing the mainstream stuff? Well, it's because he's interested in filmmaking as an art and how you can express yourself through films. And it's not always about the plot. It's not always about how can I get from A to B in this plot and how can I engage people in very shallow views. I mean, that's genre filmmaking where you're limiting the world to the point of view of the person who you're portraying, and the whole world's limited that way. And in pulp, that can be great. Pulp, I mean, it creates this world that you really want to enjoy watching. But Malick's not interested in that. Malick's not about that. Malick's about the contradictions. He's about the atmosphere of what's on your mind. It's all about how people disconnect, how people can't quite work out what they're thinking. But it's not just about that in a kind of kitchen sink way. It's about what's going on in your head, what the images that affect you, what is the history of images that affect you, that things you can't actually like verbalise. You'll never be able to verbalise exactly what they mean to you, but the images are shown and you can see the effect on the person, and it's like how they work through that. And that's hard to do for a mainstream film because the mainstream films, they just want you to say, I want an emotion that I understand. Malick's about what emotions you don't understand. And that's interesting. In this film, it's based about Christian Bale as a screenwriter who never speaks in the film, or he barely speaks. He's standing, there's voiceovers, and he's standing, he's interacting with people, but usually he's watching other people interact. He's like a ghost in his own life, but he's not really a ghost in a kind of literal sense that people stand back from him. It's just almost like he's interacting with them. You don't hear what he's saying to them, but he's almost like he's distanced from himself. And he's trying not to be, he's trying to work out what he thinks about the situation and what's going on. But he's very confused about what's going on. Not in a way of he's mentally unstable, it's more like he's trying to work out what his own thoughts mean, what his emotions mean, what his life's about. And he can't because it's too complicated just to have a very basic answer. It's about what does it mean to him? How can he move forward? And they express this problem with showing his different relationships with different women throughout the film. There was his ex-wife, a married woman who's in an affair with, or various other women who has affairs with throughout the film, and how they affect him and how the relationships fail and how he can't quite connect. There's also his family trying to connect to his brother who was a drug addict, his father who was emotionally distanced from him, and there's stuff in the past that affects them that they can't quite work out. You're also seeing the idea of mythology come through this film. Like they talk about the ancient myths that Bale talks about, and it's all about these ancient myths and how people are disconnected from the past. And it does have this mythic feel throughout the film because Malick seems to be interested in the idea of like how myth and the basic stories we see from the past, what they represent. Because they're not just simplistic morality tales, they're actually more complicated. They're the basic story and how the story makes you feel. So that's going through the past and that's going through the stories he's telling himself, but it's also going through the story you're watching at the same time. And he's trying to see that, not just the myth of what's a simple story, it's the myth of his real life and what's real and what's not, and how does he react to that? How does he feel about that? How can he connect to people? What are they feeling? What do they think? What's their point of view in life? What's their point of view of existence? And does it match up with his? Because for brief moments it does seem to match up, and then they drift apart again. So it's also about like how people's own sense of mythology, internal mentality interconnects, then drifts apart, and how do you deal with that? Because it's not like one person's right, one person's wrong. It's a bit. Some people just can't connect for too long, and how do you deal with the loneliness and the isolation and all these other elements that will affect you if you're not connecting long term with anybody? And why you're not connecting long term with anybody? What's wrong with you that creates this problem? And he's trying to work that out. Like, how can you not connect to his father, his brother? How can you not connect to all these women he's dealing with? How can you not connect to his career, his life choices? That's what he's dealing with throughout the film, and he's trying to work it out. And within that story, you've got all these images of LA, of him wandering around LA, of the art that's seen in LA, but other people express themselves and trying to find their reality. And the whole movie is about like people think of themselves as knights or as everybody sees himself as the prime focus of their life because they only see it from their point of view. And how does that affect you? And how is that a part of life? And what was it weird? So the whole bit, how do you actually subsume that just to become a normal person, to be a father, to be a husband, or whatever you want to be? That's what he's aiming for, but it's trying to move on to the next stage of life and understand where you are in life. So the movie's all about all these things, but it doesn't do it in a very conventional way. So it's been getting very kind of mixed reviews because some people just don't quite connect with it because it's like, just feels like, for a lot of people it feels like a lot of monologues that don't connect to them. It's like, what's this about? Is he trying to bore me? He's not, he's trying to connect with you, but he's not connecting with you the way you expect. It's the same thing what happened with his last film as To the Wonder, which was all about disconnection. How do you connect when you're feeling depressed and things just aren't right with you? This one's more optimistic in a sense because it's not about someone who's depressed, it's someone who just can't quite connect properly. So I mean, Malick's moved into a really interesting stage. It's a stage that kind of distances him from even some of his own audience. But for me, it's a great stage because he's really connecting with things that interest me, and he's doing it in a very direct way. So to me, he's now peaking again. This is like a new renaissance of Malick that you won't get from the reviews, but I don't really care because I'm getting what I want from the films. And I think if you try and look at them as the next stage of Malick's career and try and ignore, oh, it's not the new Badlands, it's not the new Thin Red Line, well, you just have to do that because he's not doing the same movie again. He's trying something different. And it's wonderful. He's still trying to do something different. He's not trying to coast on his reputation from his last set of films. He's trying something new. So it's a wonderful film. If you're in an adventurous point of view, you want to try something new, this is the film to try. It's wonderful. It's a beautiful, beautiful film. And Bale's amazing in it. Bale's great when you give him something unusual, something that he hasn't tried before, that he's get some weird challenges, that he's trying things that are odd, that are unconventional. He's so much better when he's playing someone who's unconventional or giving him something unusual to do. In this one, you can see he's really engaged, he's really delivering something that you don't expect from him. Even though he seems to be wandering around not talking, he's doing a lot but not talking. It's a great performance. I mean, Ben Affleck did the same thing in To the Wonder, where he's not seem saying much, but he's doing a lot with not much. It's a real good skill for an actor to have. So, anyway, I hope Malick does a few more of these films, because I'm having a great time watching them. They're just amazing stuff. They're wonderful, wonderful films. So I've said if you want to try something new, this is the film you see. This is the definition of new. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that, and bye.